Hey there, I'm Nick, and in this video I will show you how I earned $224,000 by making and selling online courses, which means that you can do it too, and the best part is you can do it in your free time as a side hustle and completely for free. There are very small expenses such as website hosting and transaction fees as you sell each course, etc., but these are very tiny in comparison. So in my case, the topic I used to earn $224,000 over the course of 3 years was helping people get hired by Amazon. Let me share with you the online dashboard of my school for the sake of complete transparency. Okay, here it is, and the school's name, the school's platform is Teachable. It's an online platform for selling online courses, as you may know. And the time period is from November of 2018 to November of 2021. And drum roll, here's the big number, $224,015 in earnings over the course of these 3 years. Now, in the next 7 days, in the course of 7 videos, I will share with you my full journey with you, step by step, as I had generated this amount of revenue so that you can replicate it for yourself. You can hopefully exceed what I've done and do even better. My point is I'm going to bring my formula and my path, my journey that I used, and you would supply your passion and knowledge and expertise in any topic of your choosing. Okay, so a little bit about myself. I worked for Amazon for 5 years as a bar raiser. Those are the people who decide who Amazon should hire. They have this great decision-making power, and they determine every single person who Amazon hires or not. And I was a bar raiser for 5 years, and in the process, I had interviewed hundreds of people, and I've seen some do very well. I've seen some do very poorly. I cared to do the right thing and choose the right candidates for Amazon. Obviously, a lot of these candidates also cared to be hired by Amazon and change their lives. So when I left Amazon to pursue my entrepreneurial dreams, I thought to myself, well, wait a minute, I have a perspective here, a unique set of ideas that I care for, and why don't I put an online course and see if anyone's interested? And I did that, and the rest is history. So here's my current website, Amazon Bound. Land a job with Amazon, interview preparation for motivated people, and in the courses section, you can see I have a lot of available courses right now. The essential package for $100, the premium package for $600, the premium plus package for $1,500, the platinum package for almost $5,000. And then here's a course comparison table with the features and what each course gets you. There's a bunch of other courses for new Amazonians. There is a section with your expected outcome quantified. Here's about me. Here's the different courses that I mentioned already. Here's customer testimonials, so on and so forth. So this is the current state of the site. The business is still ongoing as a side hustle. And I should warn you that if this type of site that you saw intimidates you because it has lots of content and lots of material and lots of topics, and if your first reaction is, oh my God, I don't know that I can bring so much stuff to the table, I maybe have one little idea, I should warn you, please don't let this discourage you. I did not start with this state of the site from day one. I started with something that was much smaller. It was a single course. I was selling it in the beginning, I was giving it away for free, and then I was selling it for $1 each. And now I'm selling it for almost $5,000, as you can see, a certain version of the course. So my point is, that's not how I started. You should not let this intimidate you. You can do this, start with small steps. I'm going to share my journey with you step by step, and you can achieve this and even more if you put your heart into it. Now, if you're not intimidated by this website, that's even better. You're my type of people who can jump into anything with a big smile on your face and are not intimidated by any challenge, and I salute you. Speaking of jumping in, this video is video number 1 of 7, where I'm going to start walking you through my journey. And in this first video, we're going to talk about how I came up with the topic and with the idea for the online set of courses that I've created, and then how you can use that pattern in order to come up with ideas on your own. In my case, I had mentioned about it briefly already. My number one point was I cared about the process of interviewing at Amazon and getting it right. And I had not seen good enough perspective of others helping people in the way that I thought I could help them. So that was number one. I was passionate for a topic and I cared that it's done right. Ingredient number two is that I had perspective and knowledge and subject matter expertise on a topic. And point number three is that I was ready to commit a certain number of months. I wasn't ready to just wing it and see if it works or not. I was ready to work for a number of months, maybe years on this and see if it catches on. So those are the three criteria that I would think you need in order for an idea to be a good, valid candidate to build a set of online courses around it. Now, it doesn't mean that your ideas and your perspective need to be perfect. Far from it. You need to share your genuine self, and you might not have all the answers. If you come across as a genuine person who wants to do well, who's not a talking head, who's not a know-it-all, people are going to resonate with you. And in my case, I can't tell you how many people, especially in the beginning of Amazon Bound, they would get back to me and say, well, this is not useful to me, or this was kind of okay, but you didn't cover this other part that I really wanted to know more about. And that's totally fine. You can add these components later on. The point is that if you find enough people who are your tribe, your customers, who look at that course and say, wow, thank you, I really found value in this, that's what you need in order to push forward. And these three ingredients that I mentioned about the idea of you being passionate for it, you knowing a lot about it, and you being willing to stick with it for a few months, that makes a really good set of initial ideas that you can consider. And you can come up with one idea, you can come up with many ideas. The more ideas, the better, because that gives you a larger pool of ideas to experiment with and choose from. Okay, so you've come up with these ideas. Now, the next step is to push them through what I call a validation funnel, through a validation process. And here's this validation process, the 5 steps to validate your online course idea. Fancy, right? Steps 1 through 5. Step 1 is what we've talked about already quite a bit. Come up with a solution for a problem which you believe you can add a unique perspective to resolve the problem. Step number 2 is ask people if they would use your course and your solution to solve their problem. And in my case, the way that worked was people would ping me frequently primarily on my LinkedIn profile, seeing that I was a bar raiser at Amazon, and they would say, hey, I'm connected to you via Andrew or such and such person, and I see you're a bar raiser. Could you give me an idea of what to expect in the Amazon interview? Or I've heard that this is a good tip to do well in the interview process. What do you think? And in the beginning, I would answer these questions completely for free. And then in time, I kind of thought to myself, well, wait a minute, there might be something here. And I would continue answering the questions for free. But at the end of my answer, I would also say, hey, and by the way, if a bar raiser like me were to publish an online course with the best of tips and tricks of how to ace the Amazon interview, would that be something that you'd be interested in? And the lion's share of people would say, absolutely, yes, we would. So that was step 2 for me. Now, I should warn you, do not declare victory at this early juncture. This is not enough. The way validating step 2 does not mean that you have a solid idea that you can build an online course around, but it's a prerequisite. I would love to use an analogy, a sports analogy here, where each of these 5 steps, I view them as an elimination playoff game, where you get to the trophy after surviving the 5th and final playoff game, but you can't get to that 5th game unless you win in game 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's how you should perceive this process as well. And step 2, even though it's a preliminary step, it's an important step. One more thing to say about step 2 is that you should ask people what they think. And those people should ideally be some people you don't know, right? Don't ask your kids or your mom or your spouse or whatnot. And if you do, they might encourage you. They might not want to dash your dreams. That's why they don't make for a very valid audience. There's a separate book about this called The Mom's Test, and you can read it if you want to. But the point is, ask people you don't know, see what they tell you, and that would serve you as validation for this second step of the process. Next comes steps 3 and 4, and you can do those together or separate. I took them separately because I didn't have, enough courage to start charging for my course right away. and I did them one at a time, but you can certainly do them together. So in my case, I, in step 3, gave people a small free course. I put together a 5-minute, what's called a mini course. I posted it online completely for free and watched what people did. And the importance here in this step compared to step 2 is that you're looking for behavioral validation versus declarative validation. Declarative validation was in step 2. People declare to you if they're going to use your product or not. It's very different from actually watching people do it. That's why you need behaviors. You need the actions of people using your product. And as an interim step in 3, you can give this product away for free, or you can jump straight into 4 and charge small amounts of money for your course. And that's eventually what I did too. I charged about $1 on a platform called Udemy, and I got $2,000 over the course of a few months from 2,000 customers, and that was a very strong validation for me, and gave me the data and the courage to keep going. So in step 3 and 4, you put your product in front of people and watch them use it for free or for a small amount of money. Don't worry at step 4 how much money you're going to charge people yet. That's not important. That's not consequential at this point. In my case, I charged them about $1. You could charge them $5, $10. It doesn't really matter. You want to make sure that people are willing to part with their hard-earned cash for your course. And in my case, and I'll talk much more about this in later stages of this 7-day challenge, in my case, 2,000 people paid $2,000, and the average score on Udemy for the course was about 4.7, I believe. We're going to talk about this later. And that was a great validation point that gave me the wings to leap into step 5. So validation step 5 is the final step, and that's where you raise your prices in order to extract the most amount of value from this endeavor for you and your loved ones. Now, how you raise your prices and where you find that equilibrium between supply and demand, that's going to be entirely up to you. We're going to talk more about this later. I'm going to walk you through as I show you how I develop my course and set of courses. We're going to go through these validation steps over and over. But in this 5th step, it's going to be entirely up to you how much money you want to make from this endeavor. I made, as you can see, I made $80,000 a year on average over the course of 3 years. The business continues to the present day. In your case, you might want to make something even less, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you just want some play money to go to Hawaii or Mexico every year on vacation in the summer, and that's fine, and that's totally fine. Or you want to take this nuclear and make $800,000 a year. Forget $80,000. Let's make it 10x, $800,000 a year, and turn this into your profession, into your sole profession that makes you a multimillionaire. And that's totally fine. I think that the blueprint that I'm sharing with you is going to enable you to do that. Then it's up to you how you raise the prices, where you find the equilibrium, what amount of content you offer, who the audience is, who the customer is, where's that tribe of people who are going to be willing to pay you that money. We're going to cover all of that later. But for now, it's safe to say that those are the 5 validation steps that you can use in order to prove your online course idea. So at this point, as you see, I'm not spending much time, if any time at all, in sharing with you how to produce and how to record these courses. They're obviously very important components of what type of camera you want to use, what type of microphone you want to use, what type of lighting you want to use. I'm pointing to each piece of equipment in front of me. And those are important components. Also, how to break down your curriculum, how to construct it, whether you have your lectures be 2 minutes or 5 minutes in length. Do you add practice exercises? Do you add quizzes? All of this information is very valid, and you need to learn it in order to produce a course. But I would say it's less important. As important as it is, it's less important than the distribution you're going to use. How are you going to prove your idea? How are you going to find your customers? How are you going to price your course? How are you going to prove and convince those folks that your product is better than any other product out there? That's, I think, what's going to make or break you. And as important as the product and the production quality is, distribution is even more important. And that's what I'm going to share with you. That's what I'm sharing with you in the course of these 7 videos. All right, now that you know how to validate your idea for the right online course, you are ready to go to step 2 of our 7-day challenge of how to create and sell online courses and make hundreds of thousands of dollars in the process. In this next video here, I'll show you step by step how to launch your brand new little tiny course on a platform such as Udemy in front of millions of people and prove in this validation funnel that there's even more substance in your course and continue marching forward. All right, watch this video here next, and I'll see you there soon.